Hi everyone, so today I'll be doing my Bath and Body Works empties for the last month or so. Like always, I'll have these separated into categories in case you're only interested in certain items. I always start off with soap, so let's go on to one that was in my dad's bathroom that I personally would not repurchase. And that is this white coconut caramel. I believe it was part of the fall collection. This one was $7.50. Fragrance notes, coconut flakes, toasted hazelnut, and caramel swirl. So I later found out this about myself, but well, I already knew that I don't like coconut, but I also don't really care for hazelnut. I don't know. I think also just nutty fragrances in general, I really have to be in the mood for it. So while I personally rarely use this soap, I feel like there were no complaints from my mom and my dad. My dad actually really likes coconut, but to me, even this right now, it almost smells like coconut oil that has re-solidified and has been out in the sun for a little bit. So each time I smell coconut, unless it's mixed in with, like, let's say a fruit or maybe just like a very strong like lime or lemongrass or even like a cherry scent, I feel like it just bothers me a little bit, even if it's a gourmand. So yeah, this one I wouldn't repurchase. I don't think my dad particularly cared for it. I know he didn't dislike it, so I would not repurchase this just because if, for example, my mom and my dad said, "Hey, I don't want to use this soap," I would really dislike using it. So there is that one. I didn't really smell it on my hands, but then again, I made extra sure that I rinsed more so than if it was a soap. I mean, either way, I'm rinsing my hands, but I just really rinse my hands, if you know what I mean. Okay, next we have an Easter soap that I don't know why I thought this was going to last over a month, because I started this around March and this was done well before March ended. This is a little bit hard to see. It's Hip Hop Hooray. I believe this is somewhat older or newer, $7.95. Fragrance notes, delicious cake batter, rainbow sprinkles, and fluffy buttercream. So this one, it was very light. I feel like it didn't really linger. I feel like if I really wanted to smell it, I would have to pump a bunch of soap and then kind of just smell the soap on my hands before I actually ran them underwater. But it's just a very light vanilla scent, but I feel like some Bath and Body Works vanilla cream or like birthday sprinkles type scents, they smell very artificial and they kind of turn my stomach. They're not necessarily like sour or anything, but it just smells so fake to me. And I really like this buttercream note in here. And I think that the rainbow sprinkles is almost acting like a nondescript berry scent. I think if this was in body care, I would enjoy it, but just watch. I can't imagine that this is a scent that Bath and Body Works has come out with in like minis or anything, or if so, let me know and I'll probably try it out again. But this one, I would repurchase it. It wasn't too strong, but I think the decor is cute. Let's go on to kind of like a body care accessory. I've had this loofah for years. It's kind of unraveling. So one of the reasons why I am tossing this is because, one, it's pretty old. Two, it's getting a little like flared out, but I just find myself not reaching for loofahs as often. One thing about Bath and Body Works is if you want a good quality loofah, they make great ones. When I first started using it, it's almost so high quality or like densely packed that I felt like I really had to like rub in the shower gel or the body wash, but it does a good job at making bubbles and they're a little bit like bigger. So for example, if you have a body wash that doesn't have any, like, what's that word? Is it sodium lauryl sulfate or like the thing that causes it to bubble? This really helps out, because one thing about myself is that I prefer more of like of a bubble, medium, large bubble action than like a creamy lather that's very, very small, tiny. I don't know. I just feel like it's more luxurious. So this one really helped me out. But one thing about loofah sponges is that I feel like there's a lot of places for, let's say you have like a fungus gnat, or I think it just attracts a lot of like bacteria and whatnot, versus what I currently use is a silicone brush. I feel like that's easier to rinse out, but the downside is that I don't get that amazing bubbling, foaming action. So I would repurchase Bath and Body Works loofah sponges, not for full price because I believe it's like around $6, $7. But if you can catch it, especially during the semi-annual sale, which I did, so I have some in back stock, I feel like these are a lot nicer. Like if you have guests, for example, I would rather give them a Bath and Body Works one than that cheap, like flimsy Target or Walmart loofahs that I've seen. So would repurchase it, but maybe down the road. And also my dad has a tendency to mix up the loofah. I'm like, mine's the pink one. There's clearly no mistake in it, but his is the orange one. But I secretly think that he wanted this loofah. But now he says he doesn't use it, so whatever. All right, moving on to candles. Let me go on to some that I gave my aunt. So I forgot to include this in my previous empties, but this is more so like gifted Bath and Body Works candles. I wouldn't consider them a declutter, well, semi-declutter, because a lot of the scents I didn't care for. So these are more fragrances that I didn't see myself burning or scents that I didn't really care as much for. And I think she's finished already. So it took her about 2 months to finish all these 3-wick candles. And I'm slightly worried to give her any of my non-Bath and Body Works brands that have 4 wicks because I don't ever see her trimming her wicks. Anyways, that's all to say these are all the candles that I gifted my aunt. Cactus Blossom in the 3-wick. That was a part of the Black History Month collection, maybe like 2 years ago. I know it wasn't last year. Then I gave her the one. That one wasn't the original one that I had. This was a re-release. I believe it came out during Candle Day, so maybe like 3 or 2 years ago. Then I gave her Macaron Clouds 2. One of them was from my sister and one of them was mine. And I really enjoy that scent. I feel like I got more out of it in the Wallflower refill, but it's just extremely light, even if I put it underneath my candle lamp and in my candle crock. So I'm finishing up right now and it just isn't it. So I don't know. I have one more that I'm going to try to burn and see if maybe letting it sit helps. But yeah, I just got a whole lot of nothing. But she's burning it in a smaller space, so maybe it performed better for her. Then we have a Vivid Emerald. That one was a little bit too green for me. Maybe I'll try to find the fragrance notes, but that one I picked it up for 75% off. I believe that Strawberry Pound Cake came out in that collection as well. So I have one of those and I just figured that she would enjoy that scent a little bit more. She likes the outdoors, gardening, and like fresh scents. She doesn't really care for a candle that smells like pancake or waffles or like vanilla, stuff like that. And I think that is it. Yeah, these were all 3 wicks and she enjoyed all of them. Or she enjoyed them as far as I know. Moving on to candles that my sister specifically used up. I don't have any because I am trying or burning other brands that are not Bath and Body Works, so I don't have any empties. But anyways, she finished this 3-wick in Unicorn Sprinkles. It's a good scent, and I feel like the lighting kind of sucks, but I'll try to change that. So Unicorn Sprinkles, I don't know if this was the first ever Unicorn Sprinkles because this packaging was re-released and I don't think they made any changes to it because on the bottom, this one came out in 2019. So it is an older candle. Fragrance notes, fluffy, cotton candy, rainbow candy drops, sugared lemon with natural essential oils. Oh, I did write notes. So she said it was strongest in the first half. And I think she just got burned out with the scent. So she did recently, and by recently, I mean within the last 4 or 5 months or so, burn the limited edition kind of blends candle. I believe it's Unicorn Sprinkles and Limoncello, and she much preferred the blend, but that's because she really enjoys the amped up lemon scent. So this one, here's how it looks like. No real issues. I mean, the wax did get slightly discolored, but I don't know how she does this because she just lets her candles burn and burn, and she never really has any burn issues in terms of like it just duds out right here. So she puts it in the crock really, only if she gets tired of the scent. So this one reminds me a lot of like this powdery, almost slight bubble gum. I feel like the Limoncello and Unicorn Sprinkles is the better version of it because I also like heavy citrus candles that aren't grapefruit. I feel like I don't like grapefruit. This one smells nice and pleasant, so I don't know why she got tired of it. Maybe she wanted it to be a little bit stronger. But overall, I think this is a nice scent if you like candy fragrances. I think that she would have enjoyed this a lot better if it was in a wallflower refill. So while she wouldn't repurchase this one, I think I would because I really like the fluffy airiness coming from the cotton candy note in here. It's not heavy. I feel like you can burn it in the summer or the springtime. yeah, it's just a very happy scent. So that is Unicorn Sprinkles. And then the other candle that she burned, I think she had this going when it was a little bit colder earlier on. And that is, what was it? The Perfect Together collection. And this is coffee and donuts. So I did write down the notes, but I feel like there's a slight glare to it. And here is how the inside looks like. Again, I'm always so jealous of how her candles burn. So there we go. And she does not put this in a candle crock or underneath a lamp, unless it's a scent that she just absolutely loves. If you hear an alarm go on, the time just changed. So, anyways, on the top of the lid, I put that she liked more during the first half because she got more of a like cinnamon donuts type of a smell. But even on cold, it smelled kind of funkier, like slightly off. After that burn, that first initial burn, I feel like that toned down a little bit, but then it would come back during the second half. But in the second half, it was more of this like burnt coffee. Well, for me, burnt coffee scented candles kind of reminds me of Paris Cafe. It reminds me of when you keep reusing and boiling coffee grounds and stuff. So yeah, the second she wrote, I think it says reheated coffee. So I think that was the vibe she was getting. Strength and throw, I also agree that it did better during the first half. I think for strength and throw, first half, I would have given it an 8 out of 10 for both. But then it kind of decreased down to a 7 out of 10 or like a 6.5. But that's also because I think her wicks got a little bit lower. So maybe that also changed the scent itself, but it didn't prevent her from finishing it. So there's that one. She initially said in the first half that she would repurchase it. And then in the second half, she said, no, I'm good with just the one and done. Okay, that is it for candles. Let's go on to the one room spray. And this is my mom's favorite scent, Japanese cherry blossom. So this one, okay, I got her 2 of these. And initially she really liked it, but I think through the power of suggestion, I think my mom places a lot of importance to what my dad says. So if he doesn't like a concentrated room spray, then she slowly starts to not like it as well. But she still likes Japanese cherry blossom in the shampoo, conditioner, body care, like lotion, shower gel / body wash. She just felt a little bit weird spraying this around. So towards the end, I believe that I ended up using this or she ended up spraying it just when my dad wasn't around. But I feel like this does a good job. I don't, just because of that, I wouldn't repurchase it. And also my family has a tendency to change their mind or like flip flop on, yeah, I like it. No, I don't. Or like, you bought already 3, but I'm not going to use any, just stuff like that. So I wouldn't repurchase Japanese cherry blossom because if they change their mind again, then I'm stuck with it. And I don't really care for the scent that much. Okay, the wallflower refills. Ugh, I so regret not getting another one of these. I should have tested it out. But I think that's one of the problems with having such a big collection is sometimes you just don't get around to it. And then when you discover, hey, I like the scent, you can't find it anymore. So that scent is Tea Time in the wallflower refill. I have this going in my bathroom, but honestly, I think I would have preferred it in my room. Just when I'm testing out candles and stuff, I feel like I don't want any other scent to like mess with my nose or my opinion on candles. So this one, the fragrance notes are fresh cut fairway, refreshing sweet tea, and frosty lemonade. This one performed really well. I had it in a scent control in my bathroom. It might have also performed well because a bathroom is just generally smaller than, let's say, like a bedroom or the living room. So tea time. I haven't smelled this in a while. Let me open it. All right, I remember. This reminds me of sweet tea and lemonade from Bath and Body Works, but less like powdered Lipton iced tea or like sweet tea mix, which I feel like sometimes that could be a little bit too much. I think I would want more of this like wateriness, which I think it's coming from the fairway, which I think that just means grass. There is a bit of a dewy wateriness that you don't find from sweet tea and lemonade. Obviously, you get the lemonade from sweet tea and lemonade, but again, I think that's kind of overshadowed by that powdered sweet tea mix almost. So I think my sister has one of these, but I have a feeling that if I like it, she'll also like it. So if I could repurchase this or if I see it again, I will get it. But then again, I wouldn't get it for full price. I would only pretty much get it for 75% off. Heck, maybe $2.95 if I'm feeling adventurous or like, oh, let me just spend my money like crazy. Yeah, tea time. Enjoyed it. Final wallflower refill that I had going. I really love the scent. I think at one point in time I had like 20 or 25 of the wallflower refills that I found for 75% off. But the reason why I put this in my parents' bathroom is because this is pretty old. This is at least 4 or 5 years. So I didn't know if it would perform, and spoiler, it did. So that is strawberry pound cake. My sister was burning during the time that this was going because it lasted quite a while. She was burning Neapolitan ice cream, and I feel like that really complemented the strawberry note in Neapolitan ice cream, and it just made it like creamier. Personally, I feel like if you think that strawberry pound cake in the candle format either leans sour, too cakey, I think the refill just really softens it up, and I think there's a heavier emphasis on like the lightness of the scent. It's not as dense, is what I'm trying to say. So, strawberry pound cake, the fragrance notes to that one. Ooh, can I read that? Fresh strawberries, golden shortcake, and whipped cream. So, how I smell the wallflower refill is the same as the fine fragrance mist, and I feel like that those form factors are the best versions of the scent. Or maybe it was just this particular year, because I think this was the maybe it was the first year that strawberry pound cake came out, because this is a pretty old plug. I believe that strawberry pound cake, the scent, first came out in 2020, because I know that was the year of the pandemic and everything. So what am I saying? I would repurchase strawberry pound cake. I really liked it. And oddly enough, even though it's a total gourmand fragrance, my parents didn't mind it. I mean, at times I did put it on the low intensity. So I think that's also another reason why they didn't complain, because if I had this going high strength blasting in the bathroom, I think they would have had an issue with it. So that is everything that I finished up recently. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you have a great day. Okay, bye.